In this video, we're going to talk about online marketing tips, secrets of those big launches, the big incomes. Do you ever see that? You know, the income videos or pictures or screen captures, stories that just make your jaw drop and you wonder like, man, how did they do that? What's the big secret behind that? Now I got to know this. Well, that and more on the video right now. I got three secrets about this. Secret number one is they have a really big draw, front end draw, what we call the front end, the entry, the point of entry. I have another video, Online Marketing Blueprint, where I talk about the point of entry, and also a marketing makeover video where I talk about the point of entry. So your point of entry is how people get into your business. And when you have a really large income, you have a really big draw. I did $650,000 in 1 year with all very small staff, right? And so we have this really big front end draw, and most of that, a large part of that was just front end income, meaning products in the $60 to $100 range. And you'll see the importance of that to the really large incomes here in a second. But it's like step one is that really big front end draw. There's more than one way to do the deal, right? We'll talk about a couple models. But typically, when you see these big incomes, like I was just looking at a friend of mine today who's used to be one of my top affiliates, but has gone on now to do millions and millions and millions. I was just looking at his model, and you're going, wow, that's a lot of money, man. How is he doing that? Well, then you go and you look at a few years back when he was doing launches. You know, number one prize is a car. Was a big car, like a Mustang. Number two prize was a smart car, you know. I mean, he really was doing really large launches and prizes to bring in so many people. Now, today, this year, you know, he's not doing the big launches. And you say, well, what's he doing now? Well, now he spent $14 million in the last year on Facebook ads for the front end, for the point of entry, right? And so you need this. Typically, it's a really big point of entry. And what that generally amounts to is buying a crap load of ads or doing really big launches where you're really putting some money on the line for the launches. Now, depends on the platform and the level of the game, right? I mean, when he's selling $1,000 product, usually $700 to $1,000, so he can offer a car or something, right? More typically on JVZoo or Warrior Plus, these are smaller dollar launches, right? On Warrior Plus, you're going to see maybe a $4,000 first place price is just huge. That's huge, and that launch will just crush it, you know. Over on JVZoo, it may be more than that because they're selling software that has bigger upsells. But it's still the same thing. You're still in the prizes. You're not looking at a car for first place, except a very, very exceptional launch, right? Okay, so number one is that big front end. Now, what is number two? Well, number two is you really do look at the price points involved. And so, like when I did $650,000, I had a small team. Now, I could have done off of that probably $5 million if I had a big back end in place. And you say, Marlon, why didn't you have the big back end? Well, didn't because, you know, there's legal liability if you're selling really big tickets. Oftentimes it's done over the phone, which in the U.S., see, a lot of these people aren't in the U.S., and so they kind of have an unfair advantage because they're living under other countries' laws where they can say pretty much whatever they want over the phone, right? Or they at least don't have to worry about the U.S. laws. The U.S. laws on the phones are tough. They're strict because they're designed to prevent fraud, but then, you know, you can't have some rogue salesperson is what I'm saying. So part of it is it's usually done over the phones because, I mean, you can sell up to $2,000 on a webinar and you can make good money on a web, but you're still only going to build so big of a business off of $2,000 sales. You start hitting those higher price points, man, and they got to be charging $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 for stuff. And so it becomes a complex business because now you have employees, now you have some merchant account issues and all of these things with these bigger tickets. So all I'm saying is it's not rocket science, but there's rocket science involved. Like having a merchant account where you can be charging $5, $10, and $25,000 transactions and more and not have problems, that's a bit of an art. There's some science involved there, right? But in terms of how you do it, it's logic. You've got a lot of people coming here on the front end, and then you have these big ticket sales. Now, there's, I say number three, or secret number three, is there's another model, which is like my friend Kevin Nations teaches this model. Real small front-end lead generation, highly targeted, usually social media, oftentimes free lead generation because you don't need a lot of leads. Sell them on the phone yourself so you don't have to worry about some rogue salesperson promising the moon. Sell them on the phone yourself and sell really pretty large tickets for coaching and that kind of thing. Now, and I love Kevin Nation's great model. I also say this, that like not everybody wants to do coaching or be a coach or can do it. Like, you know, it takes a lot of energy on those calls. And so some people with health problems or some people with other issues, they may not do that. Other people may just not like it or want to do it or be good at it. So again, it's not for everyone. So in terms of internet marketing tips, what I have to say about this is the big tip is, who are you? What are you about? What kind of business do you want to build? Do you want to be doing the coaching? Do you want to sell? Do you not mind being on the phone yourself and selling something for $10,000 or $20,000 and then doing the coaching? Or do you want to do webinars and sell that $1,000 and $2,000 or $700 product? Like currently, I'm seeing the price has maybe going down to more like $700. Do you want to do that? Or do you want to do a mid-ticket business where your front ends then are cheap, $10 or whatever, $50, and then you're selling $200, $300, $400, $500 things, or maybe $1,000 max on a webinar, right? What kind of business do you want, right? And so there isn't one model, is what I was trying to say at the beginning of this video. There's not one model. There's a lot of models that work, and you can have a very successful business, a really good business on a mid-ticket model where you sell low-price stuff and then mid-tickets, but you're going to cap out at a certain point. Like that's like maybe up to $1 million if you're really cranking, but it's hard to go over $1 million on that model. It's hard to go over the $1 million without those bigger tickets coming in, right? And then the other thing I'll say about that is, you know, not everybody can. Selling on webinars is an art. And typically, even if selling $1,000 or $2,000 product, you can do it with a sales letter. I've done it on a sales, sold 150 from a sales letter before or more at $1,000 a pop. But typically, it's done on phones, but usually a webinar. If it's $1,000 or $2,000, usually done on a webinar. But it's an art. There's a little bit of an art and science to pitching on the webinar. It's not some complicated thing that, oh, how are they doing this? Well, they're doing webinars. The little bit more complex issue is, how do you sell on the webinar and get people to buy? There is an art to that. There's some science to it, and there's some art to it. Like, you can do the science and have the science all down and hit all the checkpoints of what you do on a webinar, but if you don't have the art to it, you're still probably not going to sell. So I hope these internet marketing tips are useful to you. This is Marlon Sanders. If you like this, subscribe to my channel. Click the little thing so you can be getting the bell so you can be getting my notifications. And I've got some more information, some free stuff you can get in my description below. Some people call me the king of step-by-step internet marketing, and I want to wish you the best of success.